Um, let's get into it. Hi, guys, and welcome to Fall 2022 of SCAD Concept Art Club. This meeting's just going to be introductions and kind of telling you who we are, and then we're going to do a little bit about what concept art is as sort of an introduction for anyone who doesn't know or wants to learn more. We are the SCAD Concept Art Club, otherwise known as the SCAC. That's our fun little logo, designed who knows how long ago, but that's our blue. That's who we are. Our current officers, I'll introduce myself and everyone else can introduce their respective selves. I'm our president. My name's Will Grossman. I'm an illustration major with a concentration in concept art. That's you, Tessa.
All
You should
right.
introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Tessa Kissick. I am the vice president, and I'm an illustration major.
Hey y'all, I'm Ethan Salmon. I'm the secretary. I'm an illustration major here focusing on concept art.
Hi, my name is Dasha Makarsheva. I'm a visual effects major, and my concentration is essentially programming, but I understand all the 3D elements of creating concept art, so if you ever need help with that, reach out to me.
And then hi, I'm the ACC liaison. I'm Claire Chong, and I'm an illustration major.
Yeah.
Wicked. New officers, Dasha and Claire joined as of, at the end of last quarter, but this is their debut
first quarter.
Yeah, so give a warm welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. We're on.
So what do we do here? The SCAD Concept Art Club exists to help students who have an interest in visual development and concept art by enriching their skills and knowledge through demos, talks, guest visits, and interviews, and other activities, as well as offering and cultivating an active and friendly online space in our Discord. What are we doing this quarter? We have a bunch of meetings planned. Our fun welcome graphic done by our secretary, Ethan. We've got a bunch of meetings. Right now we're doing our intro meeting. Our dates may get shuffled around. We're in talks for a guest speaker. So that might shuffle things around. We'll let everyone know as that happens. So we'll keep you posted. But we've got a lot of fun meetings. We've got some fun contests as well. So a nice mix of more academic and fun stuff. It's going to be a fun quarter. So since moving online, our Discord's been like pretty much the hub of how our club functions, as well as ICC being annoying. Our Discord's a great community to meet new friends, talk about art, share your art. It's a really awesome community that we've built up over the years. So we love to see new faces and we love to see a lot of interaction here. So it's a great place. We have some other social media as well. We have our Instagram, again, our Discord. We do have a YouTube channel and some other places which we're sort of in the process of updating so that we can, get our recordings out and that kind of thing too. Again, we'll post anything that we update or change. So one of the main things that we run that's sort of our big in-person event, we do 2 contests a quarter, which have really fun prizes, and it's a great place to meet new people and, do a little fun art challenge and maybe win some art books. It's really fun. We do silly ones. We do more serious ones. It's just like a really great place to interact, learn some new skills. We've had some faculty come in and do like a guest contest before. It's been really fun. Sometimes we have a Discord, like special Discord role up for grabs. So we like to have a lot of fun here, which is part of it. Having fun and being serious. Nice to have it mixed.
Sorry, Will. We also just learned today that Atkins is going to be able to be at both of our contests this quarter, and he's going to be talking about some super cool NDA stuff for the first contest and giving away some special prizes. So
yeah, Robert Atkins, our club advisor, wicked guy. So make sure you show up when we announce that happening. That'll be at Heyman's. Again, our usual meeting time is Fridays at 6 p.m., usually 6 to 7. We might go later, or depending on, how far meetings last for. But yeah, that was a really quick rundown. We're now going to get into what is concept art. This is for all you new people. We're just going to break it down. So the main core of concept art, which separates it from illustration, is our focus on ideation. Ideation is creating. I'll just go back to that. We'll sit on this slide for a little. Ideation is, coming up with ideas, helping out. We're fleshing things out. We're not trying to create a beautiful picture. We're trying to solve problems with visual solutions. Our drawings and our paintings and our sketches, our silhouettes, everything that we do is just the medium from which we use to communicate our solutions. We aren't as focused on the end product as an illustrator is. We're focused on that core, the seed of an idea. We're all about working through solutions and making sure that the work that we put out helps everyone else later than us in whatever kind of pipeline that we're in. We're finding solutions and we are solving problems. So we go through a little bit of examples here. This is Irie Pan's Ambrosia, which is, she sets up a problem of, how people move and fight and kind of interact where a constraint of the world's magic being honey-based. So we see all of these designs incorporate the idea of honey because that's what's needed to solve her problem. She's setting up constraints and then using those to create a focused and finalized design. I should have rehearsed more. But yeah, she's using the constraints of the world for her settings and sets the problem and then solves it. So as a concept artist, we're all about our constraints. We're looking at everything around us to get to move from a really wide and open kind of possibility for a design to something really tight. We're worried about everyone else who's working on the same project. We're worried about our lore, our needs of whatever world we're working in. We're worried about tone, our target audience. We're worried about is our character having too many flowy bits? Is that going to be hard to animate? Does this character or prop or environment make sense for the game that we're doing? If our platformer doesn't feel like a platformer with the sort of designs that we're putting in, then what are we doing? We need to worry about everyone else, that our designs seem focused and well read to what we're doing. We're all about respect. So this is a really great graphic from Carolyn Lim regarding, sort of the tiered process of how we go about doing concept art. It's top down and, bottom up, really. It's a bit of both. So, we use the constraints of the world to tell a story that's packed with the feeling that we want, and then we use our art fundamentals to deliver it, right? As I said before, our job is the top two parts of this pyramid, right? And the bottom part of the pyramid is there to supplement and allow us to sort of get the things that we want to say out. We're all about communication, just like illustration, but communication in a design-focused process. So this is some concept art from League of Legends for a character, Senna, right? So Senna was at the point of design, a character that had been established but not fleshed out. So here the Riot team, like all the individual artists, got together and shotgunned a bunch of different processes, like different attempts at kind of filling out this character, and all of them, right, are using those constraints of the world that Riot has established with League of Legends, right? There's lore and tone and everything else, right? There's so many constraints that they have to be really focused to get a character who fits and feels alive in the world that they've created. The bulk of our work, is in here, in this ideation. We're looking to solve and try to flesh out almost every single possible path a design could go in, right? And trying to work out all of this stuff, going really wide and really low to the ground. We're the vanguard of trying to like figure something out. We're first in, right? We get our art direction and we are like hitting the ground running. That's the word phrase I was looking for. So we're here, like the core of what we do is all about silhouettes and this initial sort of shotgunning of going wide, right? This is where a lot of our work gets done. It's super important. No matter where you're at in concept art, you're gonna have to be doing a lot of ideation because it's so critical to finding a design that works. We explore all kinds of angles and lighting and textures because we need to solve all these problems so that everyone else behind us in the pipeline, our modelers, our programmers, everyone else has an easy time, right? We need to explore this stuff so that there's no confusion. It may sound redundant that we have to show all 14 different angles of this treehouse, but we have to so that the modeler knows what the hell they're looking at. We got to be thorough. We got to be legit when we set down to focus on a design. We can't sort of half-ass it. Again, research and authenticity. I mentioned before that a lot of what we do is about respect. Creating an informed design requires research. It's important to gather reference and be really like thorough about what you're designing. You got to be that specialist, that person who's like, oh, we need to make a gun design. Oh, let me look at all these different types of guns and understand how guns work a little bit so that you can create an informed design. So that reference gathering, that build up a visual library is so important to what we do. Again, like we try to leave no stone unturned. These are an example of like doing color and lighting comps. You might get these assignments in your classes too, and it might seem like, oh man, this is a little redundant, but that's what we're trying to do. We're looking for that redundancy. We're trying to flesh out all of our designs to find something that works. And a very efficient way of doing that is exploring a lot of different paths. So not every job, though, is going to look the exact same. And it's not that, like, doing all these ideations and these silhouettes and these things that may seem a little tedious, like, that's not all we do, right? Like, there's a lot of room for experimentation and kind of what we do is we find that mood of the piece. So there's a lot of, like, mood and feel things to what we do, too. It's not just mechanical, right? We're not just, like, figuring out how barrels are going to look. While figuring out how all the barrels are going to look is important, we're also, like, as a concept artist, we do find some of that mood stuff. We're trying to create feeling as well. So there's definitely a range to what we do as concept artists. It's not all just silhouettes and ideation, even though it's super important. Scott Robertson is one of, like, the forefathers of our industry. He has a really great book on how to, like, design vehicles and I think it's just called How to Draw Everything, right? Is that the name of the book?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a really amazing book on how to break everything down into perspective and be really, like, complex and really interesting designs through a mechanical process. So he's one of, like, the reasons our industry exists. Concept art is a super recent industry. It's new and it's always evolving. So stuff like this, it's important to know a little bit of where we came from. Here we go. How to draw and drawing everything. This book's really awesome. It's very focused in kind of mechanical stuff, but it's all about breaking down perspective into kind of a mathy and scientific way so that you can kind of create anything. Really good book. There's another book that we're going to be talking about too, The Skillful Huntsman. Now, this book you might actually get handed to you in a few classes, I'm currently in a class, Illustration 352 with Doug Sorois. He was like, go get this book. You might get told to get this book. This book's online as a PDF for free. If you look up Skillful Huntsman PDF, you'll find it. It's kind of one of the concept art like Bibles. It goes through and it's pretty much three different people's, three students actually, attempts at designing a world and characters and all sorts of things with the same prompt, and it goes through and it shows like how each student kind of took the directions and did their own silhouettes and ideation. So it doesn't have stuff just about characters. It has characters, it has props, it has environments. It's really thorough. It's a really great book, so I recommend it. Feng Zhu is another one of our industry forefathers. On YouTube, there's a bunch of FZD School of Design stuff. He's one of the main people who's kind of created our concept art industry, really, right? His knowledge on stuff like speed painting and photo bashing like really helped us sort of become an industry. So Feng Zhu is one of our grandfathers, but definitely like still an absolute powerhouse. And a lot of his educational content is just online and free for everyone. So there's no better time to start watching his content and kind of picking up what the masters have left behind. Really great stuff. Yeah, here we go. FCG School of Design. A lot of great videos. We've endorsed this guy several times. You'll probably hear us talking about him just a lot. He's really great. So now I'm going to kind of break down sort of two different paths of like concept art through at least games into kind of two categories. This is really going to be the independent versus the established studio. So concept art exists in a lot of different places across several industries. We're just going to be talking about the games industry right now. VizDev is a whole different thing, and we'll get into that a little bit. But I'm going to be talking about sort of independent versus AAA companies and how concept art differs between each side of the industry. The first thing I'm going to be talking about is the established studio. This is your AAA, this is your Bungie, this is your Riot, this is your EA, your Square Enix, everything big, right? There's a very specific way in which they work, and it kind of is shared across all these AAA studios. It's broken down. So the main difference, right, when you're in such a big studio is team size. So EA and Riot and everyone else has a bunch of different concept artists on their payroll, right? So when you're doing concept art for something like this, you're going to get, it's less about individual kind of freedom and more like, oh, you have an art director who's, kind of guiding you through and curating and making sure that all of the various artists in their different styles become unified. So we see a lot more of a consistent, like, unified vision through multiple different artists because of an art director. So you're working kind of top down. The other thing that you have with a big studio is you have really specialized design, right? So you have, with Apex Legends, I wanted to break down that these are 3 different artists working on each piece, even though they look like pretty similar. And 2 out of the 3 artists, right? The one up here, I wish I had his name on me. I'll pull it up after. But the 2 of them are explicitly skin artists, right? They're doing concept art just for character skins, which is really specific, and that's the kind of sort of specialization that you get when you move to a bigger studio. So you'll have stuff like character artists and environment and skins and all these different kind of teams, right? Will have a specific, number of concept artists. Here's a great example. This is a skin design where 2 people worked on the same skin design for a single champion in League of Legends, right? Lee Art was, kind of the principal design behind this. So she was the one who came up with, most of the bulk of the work, right? And did, the majority of the design for this skin. But they also had another artist, Jem Lin, who filled in and did that single familiar. So you'll have these big teams on collaborating so frequently on really small projects. So not small, but like specialized, right? So when you're working at Riot or something, right, you get less of that single artist vision and you more have like collective vision, right? Because there's an art director who's kind of defining the style and you're kind of working under them. So that's, and obviously like there is freedom within this, of course, and I'm not saying like AAA or anything is like, this is just like how it works, right? You have an art director and you have a bunch of other concept artists all working together. So Arnold Sang is kind of an interesting, like he was the art director for original Overwatch. And when I talk about single artist vision, so this is kind of like an interesting quirky side of AAA stuff. So you might have an artist who really kind of defines the entire game style from the beginning, and then everyone else is like kind of just doing what Arnold Sang does, but in, you know, an individualized way, right? So you had one art director who was so crucial to setting up the vision of the game, and everyone else kind of follows along and works to fit within their style. So again, it's still that idea of like having someone going top down. So you're working under people, but like in a certain way, right? Like Arnold Sang exists, right? And he had the freedom to kind of go about creating this world like a little bit by himself by filling out all these characters. So, you know, that freedom is possible, that true freedom, but you got to be pretty high up to get there, right? There is only one Arnold Sang, and I think there's kind of I think Arnold, if I heard this right, Arnold Sang was like contractually obligated, like he can't do anything in the Overwatch style, like outside of his work that he did for Blizzard, which is wild. But he was so core to the vision of the game. So you have these single artist vision people who are just like absolute units when it comes to creating really fleshed out designs. Big teams mean more collaboration but less freedom. You're designing something a lot greater than yourself, so that artistic voice is managed, right? But you get to interact with so many different kinds of people and other artists that it's really interesting. The big team dynamic is a lot different than a smaller team dynamic, which is what we're going to get into now. So independent studios, much smaller studios, stuff like Heart Machine or I'm throwing God, I'm having a brain fart. Heart Machine and like Devolver and Dodge Roll and so many other like smaller independent Supergiant. Oh my God, that's who I'm talking about. Supergiant, you know, right? You're not going to have a big team. Your team might be 15 people, right? And when you're a concept artist on an independent studio job, you're doing a lot more, right? You got to wear a lot of different hats. In more independent studios, you're going to find a lot more freedom with a lack of like a lot of higher management and bureaucracy to jump through. But it's going to be a lot more varied, right? You can't specialize as hard when you're working in indie games. Indie game concept artists are responsible for a lot of things. You might only have just one concept artist working at an indie game, or even in the case of Supergiant, Gen Z, who's the art director for Supergiant games. I think they have a 3D modeler and one other like character artist or something like that. But Gen Z is not only responsible for doing a lot of the character concept work and environment concept work for Hades, but she's also doing splash illustration for them too. So when you're in an indie game studio, you're wearing a lot of different hats, and that's kind of the trade-off, right? You gain more freedom, but you gain a lot more responsibility. So in a slightly bigger studio, this is Heart Machine. I think they have more than 14 people. Definitely not 100, definitely more like 50, I think. Heart Machine has like I think 2 or 3 concept artists. And again, they have another situation where like the director of the game, Alex Preston, he's like the owner of Heart Machine and also like one of the core creative voices, right? He'll do a lot of the kind of like initial exploration, and then he'll pass it off to his concept artist Isaac Ramos to kind of flesh out everything else. So it's a little bit of that single artist vision again, but it's much more collaborative because you have the concept artist directly interacting with the game director, which is something you don't always have happen in AAA. You might have the art director interacting with the game director, but here you have an individual character concept artist interacting with the director of the game, which is really cool. You get to experience like a much more tight knit group of individuals, but again, you know, you're responsible for learning and kind of adapting to a lot of things and working under a budget too. That's another big thing when it comes to indie games. You know, your budget is smaller, so time crunch can definitely be like an aspect as well because you're working under that kind of responsibility. But there's a lot of collaboration just on a tighter scale. Yeah, again, it's the lack of specialization. It's more so of going wide versus going tall. The industry's a lot bigger than what I'm just talking about. This is a very small slice of what's going on. I know this meeting is kind of, you know, it's not insanely long. It's pretty short, but there's so much, right? And I only just covered games. Animation has a whole realm of concept art known as visual development, which I didn't really get into because I can't speak to that entirely. That's just not my knowledge base. Not entirely of my knowledge base. Obviously, I'm always learning. But definitely we'll talk about visual development in other meetings, but I just wanted to focus on kind of concept art through games here. But I hope I was able to give you guys a fair shake of what's going on in our industry and introduce to you our club. We're so excited to have everyone here. And we'll be hanging out and taking any kinds of questions if everyone has any. I know I just kind of went on a ramble. I hope everyone was able to parse what I was talking about. Thank you so much for letting me talk. And I'm so excited to have our fall 2022 session of Concept Art Club. But I think all of our officers are gonna kind of unmute and we'll do Q&A if anyone has any specific questions about concept art or what we're running in the club this quarter or anything like that. We're going to be here to answer questions. But thank you so much for everyone for showing up.
Good jerk. That was pretty good, man. I did see a question. No, all meetings are not going to be online because our contests are in person. You can still participate online in the contest. You just can't win because there's no way for us to give you the goods otherwise.
Yeah. We have done online contests where you know, the prize is a Discord role. So that's always something that could be on the table. We have Brooke here, you know, widely accepted bigwig. That's a custom role for winning our contest. But our contests are really fun, and it's one of our favorite things that we do here.
Yeah, our problem right now with meetings in person is that ICC requires us to have an advisor there to meet in person. So for contests, we know that we're going to have Atkins there for each of them, and maybe some of the other meetings we could have Atkins there. And if they're in person, we'd always say it in the announcement, but mostly meetings will be on Discord. Contests will be in person. They're just design contests. So our first contest, the concept design contest, we're going to have like a prompt and everyone will be able to pick something out of the story prompt and design it out within about 2 hours. And we will come together at the end and we can see everyone's work. And then our last contest at the end of the quarter is going to be the same format, except it's going to be a bit more fun, which we're not going to reveal, obviously.
Yeah. We usually try to do. We usually try to do one more serious design contest and one that's more fun every quarter. We usually put the fun ones towards the end of finals.
Because we know everyone's burnt.
Everyone's burnt, so we just do something kind of silly.
Also, both contests are very fun to do anyway.
Yeah, they're really fun no matter what. Even though it's a serious contest, it's a super fun atmosphere, and I definitely recommend going. They're a ton of fun.
Yeah, it is no pressure at all.
Yeah, no pressure. Absolutely. We're just here designing and having a good time. I think we, as of right now on the fall schedule, we don't have a meeting that's specifically talking about VizDev, but we can definitely do it in the winter, and we have talked about VizDev before, and we will talk about it again. So
we definitely mention it. Like we'll be talking about next week. I'm doing a meeting on environments and set design, and a lot of my knowledge on environments happens to be for VizDev. So even though we do a lot of games, concept art for games here, a lot of my knowledge is in VizDev, and I will talk about that. So they'll be in meetings too.
Yeah, Ethan's a VizDev machine.
No.
In terms of past prizes, we do art books. That's usually what we give out. We've given out what have we done? We've done like the art for Into the Spider-Verse, I think was one of them that we've done.
Yeah, we did the Castlevania art book.
Did the Castlevania art book, Skillful Huntsman, just a bunch of different art books. We've had original art by Robert Atkins given out, which was kind of mental.
Which is supposed to talk about that.
Still under NDA. It did happen. So
it didn't happen.
Sometimes we have crazy stuff. Just occasionally, just a little bit of crazy stuff.
What do you mean comic thumbnails?
Yeah. Like storyboarding?
I mean,
like storyboarding?
Storyboarding's definitely like in the realm of like
I think it's
visual.
Different.
Yeah, it's a little different.
It's concept in comics.
But yeah, I mean, certain parts of comics are like concept art reminiscent. Reminiscent. I can't talk. My throat's burned. I should have drank more water.
If you're talking about like if you can post like comic thumbnails, of course.
They're asking about like page layout. I would recommend.
You're free to post anything in artwork. It doesn't have to be concept art specific. We love to see concept art.
Yeah, all of your work.
People post crazy shit, so don't worry. Crazy stuff. Sorry. Don't worry about it. We love seeing all kinds of work, so don't be scared.
If you're interested in like a specifically like comic-based club, there's some out there. Actually, I recommend it. If anybody doesn't know about it, join Discord hubs. But join the SCAD Discord hub, you'll be able.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great place to find a bunch of clubs that you're interested in.
At the far bottom list of like your club Discord servers, there should be that little like tree where you can just like join.
It's like a student hat. I don't know what to call it.
Clubs.
Just
Google student clubs if you
grad cap, that's it. Yeah, it's like a grad cap, and you click on that, and it'll be like.
It'll show you like all the SCAD clubs.
Our contests, depending on what we're doing in that particular thing, are usually pretty open-ended. We have usually avenues for people to do characters or props or environments. We try to leave it pretty open so that you can kind of attempt that, and we love to see people like doing props and environments and things outside of just characters. Please, yeah.
Props.
We love props.
They're fun.
Hell yeah.
Props are fun.
Yeah, you can find a lot of the. I don't think there's a way to link our student hub, but I can take a screenshot of what you want to click on to get into club Discords.
We don't know.
Then get a code. Type it in.
Sorry.
Well, sorry, Tessa. Do you want to answer that?
Yeah. So in response to Clarissa Riquez's, sorry if I butchered your last name. We do not know how many are going to be on ground beside our contests, which are I think the week after midterms and the week before finals. And that is solely because we have a ICC rule where if we have a club in person, we have to have a SCAD faculty member in the room with us.
Yeah,
And
it
we're
was
trying to
kinda-
find out how to get around it, but we are waiting for Robert Atkins.
It's still considerably advantageous to have them online.
Yeah.
Plus, it allows us
I
to
don't know
record.
if it's
So,
yeah, recordings are great.
So the first one, like according to our schedule, is the design contest on the 14th, October 14th. But there might be one earlier. We'll see.
Yeah, it
That's
depends
very TBD.
on very TBD on some of our meetings because we have guests and advisors and other things that can happen.
We will be very much keeping everyone in the loop, though. Like if
Yeah.
something changes announcement wise, we
We'll
will
let
be
you know.
announcing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one too. But yeah, and for usually our contests, because we try to be in person, you're free to absolutely participate. We'll share like the prompt of the contest in our Discord. I think we've done that before. So
Yeah.
feel free to participate when you're in online. It's just you know when we're giving out a physical art book, it might be kind of hard to get that to you. So we'll let you know if there are any like digital specific rewards though. Oh wow, there is a hub that. Thank you for sharing that, August. I didn't even know that you could link that.
But I highly recommend it to anyone, especially.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It'll show all the Discords that we have here.
Find new interests, new hobbies, make new friends. God is fantastic.
I think we're like the second biggest Discord on there too.
Yeah,
on,
we're
like
pretty
2025.
Yep.
We actually may have surpassed them with all these people who have recently joined.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, and Fall Fest coming up too. So.
Oh, God. Do we have
Tomorrow
a
is
QR
gonna
code
be
printed?
Fall Fest
crazy.
literally tomorrow.
We've got to compete.
I think
Oh,
it's 2025, but we are like 100 within their members. Let me check.
I will print a QR code, Tessa. That's a very good reminder.
Yeah, so I meant to ask earlier today.
A QR code directly to the club so they could just join.
I'm just gonna print a huge
Oh.
one on a piece of paper.
Yeah,
and you can put it
when
on
you
the
go
table.
to when you hit the
Yes.
clubs tab, we're the first one there because we have the most members technically.
We're within 30 members of the 2025 chat, so we
That's
actually
wild.
may
You
surpass
gotta
them.
beat him tomorrow.
Everyone
We're nuts.
We are gonna have a booth tomorrow, and come
Yep.
see us. We'll have things to give out if you come see us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll have
wink.
a handout.
We don't know where we'll be tabled because it sounds like they
Nope.
just assign us when we get there. So we'll
Yeah,
we'll
they're
post
pretty,
when we get there.
They're pretty huge.
Yeah, Fall Fest is tomorrow.
Saturday. On ground, Savannah, at Apiary, Bumble, and Flower, right?
Just the Hive area.
We're just in the parking lot, right?
No,
Yeah.
it's the garage.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, the garage is
we're
under
across
the buildings.
With no fans.
I'll bring my hand fan, so if anyone's like specifically dying, we could just like pour water on them and fan them.
Oh, that's so nice.
Dude, it's the only reason I survived Paris in that heat wave, because it was
Yeah.
brutal.
It's so sad too. They told us specifically we can't bring like power blocks or like things to power
That's
our
so
stuff.
weird. I
So
brought
we are
mine.
stuck. I think they said we
I don't
can't.
think there's going to be any outlets for us to.
Yeah, they said there isn't any, so.
Yeah, because I have a box fan in my room, and that's like shit. If we had electricity, I'd bring that for us. But
I'll put some water bottles in the fridge tonight and like bring a cold hydro flask tomorrow, because I'll probably need it.
yeah, Fall Fest is tomorrow at
3 to 6.
3 to 6. We just have to be there at 2.
2:15.
Or 2:15. Yeah. Yeah, no problem, Claire. Thanks for being an officer.
Claire's saving lives.
No, Fall Fest is not at Heyman's. Our meetings are at Heyman's. Fall Fest is at the Hive.
Yeah, Fall Fest is at the Hive parking lot garage
Yeah, you're good.
thing. It's
just a club festival.
Yeah, it's just a club fest.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
And it's not been on the ground for a very long time, so definitely stop by. And
it hasn't been on the ground for like 3 years.
Yeah, this will be my first on-ground Fall Fest.
My first was oh. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
exactly it.
So like the online Fall Fest they did? Imagine that, but with like thousands of people.
Technically, it's the second if you count the online
face
one.
mask, am I right?
I don't. Well, it's like my fourth if we count online, because they did.
Wait, I guess I've done a few online ones. I can't remember.
They did that like fall and then winter one, which is weird.
It's just like a club festival recruiting kind of thing. Like, it's just for like new students to kind of like learn and meet new clubs and join them and that kind of thing. It's if you already know and you already know about clubs, there's obviously no requirement to go. But if you want to stop by and say hi, we'd love to see you.
Please come do it.
Please stop by and ask what concept art is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk away.
Make sure to ask Tessa, and only Tessa.
I will leave.
Tessa specifically.
I will leave you all. I have so many people ask me.
So what is concept?
Well, I will stab you.
Tessa? What is concept art?
God.
Ethan, I will hunt you down and stab you.
What is concept art?
Will.
Didn't I just talk about it?
Will, do I need to put you in the corner?
What a mysterious character.
Oh no, guys!
I'm gonna shove you all in the corner.
I'm gonna put us all in the box.
I'll put you in a box.
Not in a box.
Actually, wait. I know a worse box. Test me, I dare you.
Test you?
Test you?
Test you?
Alright. Dasha, you didn't get quarter time, so it's your quarter time.
Me when I blow my nose into a test you?
Hey, you can join Dasha. Hey, oh, it won't let me drag you up. No. Wait. Party City.
Just leave him there.
They're in separate chats too. Here, I'll drag Will up to Dasha. There they go.
I like how I'm the one that instigated this, and they're the one that's suffering. Just how I plan. So, if there's no more questions, we are not holding anyone here.
Thanks for
you guys
coming.
can go on do your thing. Thank you all for coming so much. Like we really
thanks so much for coming. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Box? Did you give up?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm gonna stop the recording now.